Come get to know your girl. There's a lot going on in her world. There's enough for you to get a view
of everything that's Keda's Brew.
From health, beauty, food, and crypto, these are the things you'll get to know. So come find the brew
that's right for you. Then you'll know what to do. Come get to know your girl. There's a lot going on in her world. There's enough for you to get a view of everything that's Keda's Brew. Keda's Brew will change your perspective, give you food for thought in the right direction, show you things to move the scale and help you out with every detail.
Change your perspective, give you food for thought in the right direction,
show you things to move the scale and help you out with every detail.
Come on, get to know your girl.
Come on, get Come on, get to know your girl. There's a lot going on in her world. There's enough for you to get a view. It's everything that's Keda's Brew.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm trying to. Okay. What in the world? I am not sure what's happening right now. Okay. Okay. Why is this not moving? Jeez Louise. Sorry about that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Makeda. I know I'm better known as Keda121 or Keda's Brew. And this is Keda's Brew TV. Technical difficulties, a girl's just learning the lay of the land here. And I am here to talk about my culinary journey. Those of you that have been with me for a couple of weeks know that I am a Jill of all trades, and I've done quite a lot of things in my life, which is great. But one of the things that I've always done ever since I was a kid was cook and bake. I came from a household where my mom, she cooked a lot of the time. It was 4 of us, when all was said and done in the house, meaning 4 kids. And so my mom, for the most part, was kind of a stay-at-home mom. And so she was all about keeping the house clean and making sure that we had really nice, nutritious food. And she would pull together meals out of the sky. Just wanting to be independent, I kind of picked up cooking and kind of took a little bit of an acumen to baking, but I still also could, burn in the kitchen, and so I started to kind of take up doing some of the cooking in the home. And as I was growing up, and my mom had a crazy sniffer. So like if she would come in the house, she didn't matter how long it had been, 5-6 hours before I may have baked something and didn't say anything about it. She comes in the house and she's like, "What'd you make in my kitchen?" So to me, those are the times when you really get a chance to start to get your independence. And it was really important to me. And I kind of realized young that I had a very worldly palate. Hey, friend. Happy birthday, Miss Optimistic Prime. I'm so happy to know you. Happy birthday. Um, so I kind of learned early on that I kind of had a worldly palate. And when I got into high school, I met a young lady. She was very new to Texas, and we became fast friends. And she was of Indian descent, and um, but had roots in Texas as well. Um, and I remember we were in school, and she said, hey, Keda, hey, why don't you come to dinner with us? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Is that Mr. Sam? Hey, Mr. Sam. Um, so we went to this Indian restaurant, and I was just this kid who had never even heard of Indian food at all. And I had my first tandoori chicken and first papadam, and the other, the puri, and all these different things that I had never had before, samosas and chana and all kinds of great things that I would have never experienced. And it kind of opened me up to different flavor profiles and textures, and the interplay of different things together. So all through school, I cooked and did great things in that respect. But then, the singer in me decided they wanted to pursue some music. My choir director had me all souped up. So she wanted, for sure, she wanted me to be the next Leontine Price. And I got to New York, and I found out very quickly that I was totally inept when it came to going in for some type of getting accepted into like Juilliard or Manhattan School of Music. Yeah, I was like, yeah, right. um, but that didn't dash, my music endeavors. And along the way, I decided that I wanted to do something that could, you know, further my love of food and you know cooking and baking and wine tastings and all of those things that I learned very young, just from working in the restaurant industry. And um, one day I said, you know what, I think I should go to culinary school. I think I should go to culinary school, but I don't want to do cooking part. I want to do the baking part. So that's what I did. I went to culinary school at the Art Institute, and really got a chance to learn the inner workings of the kitchen, and how to have good technique, and um, how to be safe, how to be sanitary in cooking, baking, things of that nature. And I always loved baking. For me, cooking, food, baking, that's like love language for me, because it's like you just put your heart and soul and your food, or something that you've baked or taken the time and intention to be able to make something that not only looks beautiful but tastes beautiful at the same time. Like that, there's nothing like that at all. Like so that's why my taste palette is different. And, my measure of what is valuable when it comes to food is different than someone else's, and what someone might say is expensive for me is like, but did you get the experience? Was it amazing? Was it something that you could never find again? That perfect way, that perfect bite that you decided to put together, would you be able to recreate that? And for some people that's priceless. You know, that's beautiful. That's amazing. And especially when you can have that type of a very sensory type of experience off of one bite is just supreme, especially if you can create it, you know. That's amazing. So for me, um, the pastry, taking the pastry arts was just another aspect of it. I could learn different things that take a lot of time and effort to create a beautiful end result was really neat to me, like making French macarons and to make a croissant. That right there is like real dedication because you got to go back and forth, turning and, folding and all of these different things to get all of those beautiful little layers in there that has butter in between it, that kind of thing. So I just really like the mechanics of it. I also liked the chemistry of baking. Um, People don't realize that a lot of baking is nothing more than a science project, chemistry, the baking soda, the way that reacts with water and heat and or vinegar, or just the emulsification from the eggs and how, I mean, just all those types of things are just amazing to see them in play, and especially when you're baking something and one little twinge of an ingredient or the change of an ingredient can change your entire product. So, for me, I'm sorry, I can totally geek out on just baking and, just to be able to have the perfect bite. I think that's beautiful. Um, so yeah, that was one aspect of the pastry. And um, I've always had a goal of having my own cafe. And what I want, because I the same love I have for pastry, I have for coffee. So it's like, the two go hand in hand. And so, my forever goal is to have my own cafe that kind of, you know, marries the vibe of Keda's Brew, but with the mechanical Keda's Brew of whether that's coffee or I'm brewing up some type of a pastry or whatever that is. But the name of it is a Makita's Sweet Retreat. So that is the goal, to be able to marry those things and to be able to have the vibe of a party with Keda, but in my place that you can get some pastries from Keda, and get some coffee that's, her own special brew that's, bold but light and spicy and all of those things that make a great cup of coffee, you know? I mean, how can you go wrong with that? I'm just saying. So that, that's always been a driver for me, whether it was working for Starbucks and becoming a coffee master so that I could get as much information as I could, or if it was working at Windows on the World in New York and learning about wine tastings from Kevin Sorelli, because I worked there and had to learn, to then, working for a very short amount of time at, at the Odeon in New York as a pastry assistant, and then decided to have my own little bakery out of my home while I was attending nursing school. Don't judge me. It was what I needed to do at the time. And I'm never idle. I just I'm just never idle. Um, call it People could call it whatever they want to, whether it's ADHD or you know. But once my mind is set, it's set. And for me, being able to give of myself in the way of creating some of the most delectable things that you could possibly eat, and then being able to share that with people, whether they came because they are genuinely my friends and my family, and I'm able to give that to them as something that I'm doing for my family, or if it's having a place where people can come and they pay me because it is that good to them, um, that those are the give and takes that I like to be able to see, you know. And they always say that once you're doing something that you absolutely love, you're never working. You're just fulfilling your purpose. And for me, seeing people smile when I've made something and they've eaten it or enjoyed that or taken it home and enjoyed it. Those are the things I love to see because that's a very genuine and very visceral type of reaction from somebody, you know. So those are the things that I like to see and like to experience. And so that is kind of what, started my culinary journey. And I always love making food that's very flavorful, you know, something that, in some instances, maybe something different that you didn't think should go in it. And you taste it though, you're like, hey, what's that? What is that? What not in a bad way, but what is that? I can't place it. And then they're told, and they're like, what? Wow, that's deep. That's deep. I wouldn't have thought of that. So, I always like to kind of find those types of things. And I also like that in my food, right? So I really like Cajun food. I do. I really like it a lot. Some of it is very spicy. I don't do a whole lot of extra spicy stuff. I like spicy food, but not like that. Mm, no, they be, yeah, it's a lot. So, um, but, not but. However, um, I do love gumbo. I do not, however, like filet. Not a fan. Not a fan of filet. I don't know what it is about filet, but to me, it tastes like soap. So I can't do that. So normally, if I make a gumbo, I'll do the andouille sausage and um, do some. I might do some mussels in it, but I'll definitely do some crab meat in it. I would also do shrimp, and I would do, if I had some crab, I would put some crab in there, whether it's in the shell or not. Um, yeah, I would have some different types of sausage in it, and then also have your vegetables, potatoes, corn, um, onion, yeah, and then gotta have your gotta have your hot sauce, gotta have your spices. Gotta have your herbs, gotta have your broth, and you gotta let it rock. You gotta let it rock out. And then gotta make your rice. Sometimes it's rice and beans, sometimes it's just regular rice to go with it. But notice I didn't. You gotta. Oh, but I didn't even talk about the roux. You gotta have a roux first. Gotta have a roux first. That roux needs to be at least peanut butter to almost chocolate. That's the first thing. Don't knock me. Don't knock me for that. Seriously, you gotta have that roux. The darker the roux, the better the flavor. And you need the trinity, which is the celery, corn, and carrot. I just went down a rabbit hole. So normally I'll let that simmer and serve it over rice. And that's one of my favorite dishes to make. I don't do it terribly spicy, but it's one of those ones that will stick to your bones. And that's a beautiful thing. So tell me, what's your favorite dish to either make or eat? Tell me in the comments. I'm watching. The other one is the shrimp and grits that my grandmother on my father's side taught me how to make. And I was very young when I actually learned how to make this. I think I was probably about 8 or 9. We had traveled to South Carolina for me to meet my grandmother. And she was this beautiful, beautiful dark chocolate woman. And she was Geechee in James Island. And it was beautiful because I could hardly understand a word that woman said. I swear I couldn't, because they just have their own language, the Gullah language, which is a cross between African and French and Indian languages all together. And I remember her teaching me how to fry the bacon and to take the bacon out after it crisped up, and to, we would have cleaned some shrimp and taken, the black part out and cleaned them off and shelled them, of course. And we would fry that in the bacon grease. And after that, we would take the shrimp out and make a roux in it and make a gravy and then put everything back in. And that was one of the most beautiful. I had never tasted anything like that a day. I had never tasted anything that tasted that good. And it just taught me how to really engage when you are making food. You know what I mean? Because it can really exude, your feelings, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't really like to cook when I'm in a bad mood. I really don't. Food never tastes good at all. If I'm not in a good space, I won't. Nah. I wouldn't want to do that to anybody. Yeah. Not. I'd rather eat out. And maybe that's the impetus. Maybe that's what that's supposed to be. Eat out. Don't feel that way. So, yeah. No. But other than that, it's been a great journey. These days, I've gotten to a point where I don't I don't eat as much. So I probably only eat like, like once in a day, like a full meal, like once in a day. So I tend to um, keep it kind of light, lots of salads. And no, it's not you think of it, oh I'll only eat a salad. No, it's not like that. It's just lighter. Um, it does feel better to me. Um, I'm a firm believer that you kind of eat for your blood type, and I tend to need more lean beef, lean gamey type of um, you know food, and good vegetables. You know, not a whole lot of starch, but good vegetables. And you know, yeah, yeah, that's good. I'm not mad at it. I will say that my body has responded well to it. I feel like, um, you know, I don't I don't take any medications, so that's a positive. And I'm healthy as a horse, so you know, um, it's I'm not mad at it. So, um, but yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, me and food. Um, I still am a person that believes in really great food. I will pay good money for good food, seriously, because I think it's and it's sometimes it's nothing more than the experience. Now I will be mad if I go someplace and I spend a whole heck of a lot of money. It was trash. Like I would be very upset. I would. I'd be very upset. Especially if it got, if somebody recommended it and said, you should go here and you should try this. And I'd be like, come on, are we serious right now? Lloyd, what happened? Why did you give me the eyes? Hi, Lloyd. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Um, so yeah, for me, I had also that here's another good favorite for me. I love certain aspects of sushi. Certain aspects of sushi. Um, I'm not a big sashimi girl. The sashimi is the raw. Maybe it's sliced very thin or something like that. But that's I'm not a fan of the texture of that. Um, I do like the maki, and that's where it normally has something. If it's shrimp, it's going to be, shrimp that's cooked as opposed to like something raw. And it'll have avocado and, all kinds of different things, but it normally has rice and seaweed and all of the things. So I love a good maki, or it may have, some fish or something on top of some rice or something like that. So, I like that. That's good stuff. Um, I spent some time living in Japan for about 6 months, and so I did get a chance to try a lot of things. And I'm one of these people that I have no problem trying something at least once. And you know, yeah, at least once. You never know. You never know what to say you don't like about something if you don't try it. So um, I did get, to try a bunch of different things. I've, got a chance to go to onsen, to, I've done just a lot of cool stuff while I was abroad. And I also got the love of sushi, mainly maki, and ramen, and real ramen, not the top ramen we get in the States. Um, and different things that I had well before it became started to become popular. Like I'd had boba like 10 years before it came here to the US and really started to make a big splash. So it was just very interesting to me, the way things spread, and the things that are you know really famous and how they are in one place may be very different here. They have flavors over there that they don't have here. Same, vice versa. So there's just so many things to learn and to see when it comes to food, and and wine, and pairing foods, and really taking the time to to use, especially, hey, like Panela vodka, which is an amazing, type of tomato sauce, you know what I mean, that you can have for pasta. And it's super luxurious, and, just, it's wonderful. And then to have, like a pompadour or something different like that, there's all kinds of different things that you can try. And I'm just always here for the experience of it. Yeah. So now, when it comes to thinking about food and for healing, there's a lot of different schools of thought when it comes to therapeutic diets and things of that nature. There's a lot of people out here that are holistic, and like Dr. Sebi, who had, all kinds of different ways of detoxifying the body, and allowing the body to use its natural abilities to heal itself, and then also using actual extracts or fruit, and vegetables that are native to like Cuba and Guatemala and different places like that, that have all kinds of medicinal purposes, that they don't like to have in normal pharma, you know. And so he really preached about an alkaline diet, and it's a diet that is completely vegetarian, and they believe that when you have any type of vegetables or fruits that are high in sugars and high, and it's the sugars that cause them to be acidic, he says. And the acid causes mucus, which is where most of bacteria and viruses tend to live and breed and cause disease, even going so far as to say that it goes as far to cause cancers, which can be cured, he says, if you understand that getting rid of this type of mucus can then decrease that to eradicate those cancer cells. This is what Dr. Sebi was talking about. And some people feel like he was taken away, due to that. Because that's a very, in this world where we have a lot of, a lot of medications, a lot of, a lot of things that are being pushed on people. One, to keep them alive enough that it maintains life, right? But it's really just to keep them sick enough that they need medication. So for me, it is a very interesting thing to think of how you can use food to heal the body. You know, one of the things that has the most minerals and vitamins in it is sea moss. And you see sea moss all over the place nowadays. When you're starting to replenish cells in the body at a faster rate that's not taking a prolific nature like a cancer, then you're doing the right things for your body. I feel like we do end up having a loss of cells, which then causes decline, right? In a lot of instances, some of us have depleted ourselves enough that it's very difficult to be able to replenish ourselves, regardless of what we do, how we work out. So, to be able to give ourselves superfoods and super nutrients that could empower the body to rejuvenate itself, that's what we need to be doing. Okay. So, this is what Dr. Sebi was doing. Okay. I myself had been a vegan. I was actually a raw foodist for a while. Um, so I do know the benefits of fasting. I do know the benefits of doing a juice fast. I do know the benefits of drinking, wheatgrass, 2 to 4 ounces at a time. I do know the benefits of how much of that chlorophyll that gets in the body and all of the nutrients from wheatgrass. 1 ounce is like 2 pounds of vegetables. Talk about nutrient dense. Everything that we ever needed for every process in our body was given to us. Every part. You want calcium? All you got to do, he gave us animals. There's calcium in vegetables. There's calcium in broccoli. The cruciferous vegetables offer calcium. Okay. You want collagen. Now that's 9 times out of 10. Collagen is going to come from an animal source, namely the cow. That's that fat I tend to talk about. And using that beef tallow. But it's, but it's a real deal Holyfield thing. You get B12 from animal flesh. That's it's everything healthy, and it is, and everything in moderation. I think in a lot of instances people feel like you got to go one way or no way, and I think that's a misnomer. I think that is one, it's not sustainable in a lot of instances. I really believe that. Some people that are like, I don't do this at all, and I don't touch this at all, or I would never. I mean, is that steak and bake bully I see? Hey, I see you, Zach. Oh my goodness, what a day. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna pivot a little bit just because my peoples is in the room. So I had said in my last video that I had updated my website and added the beard oil to my website. And I have, so you can go on there and purchase at this point at kedasbrew.com. But I also, I did add that if you would like to be able to pay with digital assets and cryptocurrencies, that also is being added to the website as well. And you know, it's very interesting to be able to say that you are writing your own you're writing your own destiny, you're writing your own ending, and in a great way. And I always believe that we are all the sum of our choices. And I've made choices, lots of choices. I'm never ashamed of any of the choices that I've ever made. One of the best choices that I ever made was having my kids. They're amazing humans, and they make me smile and laugh, and thankful every day. They do, for sure. I am. I'm thankful for that. Um, and I'm thankful for the ability to be able to learn and regroup. Um, my regroups are very, very fierce. I tend to take every situation as a lesson. What can I learn from it? How can I do better, be better? What can I place into the world that can grow and bear fruit and allow for um, there to be greatness? Can't ask for anything more than that, you know. And it's not about recognition. It's just about the I really wanted to do that and I did it. Um, so for me right now, um, I'm learning a lot in this process of starting Keda's Brew. It has been one of the best journeys that I've ever been on, creatively, spiritually, just across the board. Being able to lean into intuition on avenues to go, sense to try out, applications to instill, whether it's a soap or the beard balm or the oil or whatever it is. Just exploring all of it and making sure that I'm really examining and seeking out what works and what doesn't. You know, I think I try to be as intentional as possible with that, you know. And I like that type of a challenge. I like to be able to challenge myself in that way. And I'm thankful that I am taking the chance to do it and to be intentional about it. And with my magical internet friends right here with me hanging, you know, I'm looking at a whole board of them. I see Steak and Bake and Mr. Sam and Zach, and we got Lloyd in here, and my girl Miss Optimistic Prime. I know that this has been an amazing day for her, allowing people to love on her and to be able to celebrate all of what she has been able to produce and accomplish in a relatively short amount of time. I know it seems like a long time for her, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not, you know. And you're making waves. It's not just ripples, it's waves. and those waves are crashing. They're going to crash in on so many people. I'm so excited to see it. I am. Maybe it's the wave that needs to come flowing in. We need a change. You know, I'm not even saying that we need to go back to anything. I'm not saying that. I said, but we definitely need change. You know, I think that we're not the only ones that see that. I think it's starting to grow just in reach of those people that kind of feel that same thing, that something just ain't feeling right. And those of us that tend to be a little bit more receptive and a little bit more sensitive to those types of vibrations that kind of vibrate higher, you know, I think you may kind of understand what that feels like. You know, it can feel a little heavy. It can. Most of the time, I'm ready to, you know, throw them bows. Most of the time, I'm ready to throw them bows and get them up off me. And you know, sometimes it gets a little heavy. You know, my shoulders were feeling just a little bit heavy a second ago. They're all right. They're all right right now. But they was feeling that. So, but yeah, it's interesting right now. I'm starting to see a lot more sick people and sick with things that just to me weren't really a thing before. You know, it just seems, I don't know, maybe it's just because I was hyper aware of it. And if that's the case, then that's a me thing and not an anybody else thing than a me thing. So I'm, you know, we'll see. We'll see. I'm starting to see people coming in with, you know, technology that can cure cancer at a nanosecond level. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the acute awareness is serious. Very serious. And sometimes it's deafeningly so. I have to really pull back sometimes. Oh, I'm about them bows. Ow. About them bows. I truthfully am not a violent person at all. I'm really not. Not at all. I'm a lady. I don't. I will pick something up though, quickly. Oh boy. I'm sorry. Sometimes I tickle myself. Oh, it's been an interesting couple of days. Um, I am glad that it is Thursday going into Friday, which is going into the weekend. And we already know what goes down on Friday nights. It is normally the Friday night fiesta. And I'm not saying that the Friday night fiesta is not going on, but we have a very special event that is going on during that time, during the Friday night fiesta. And that is the mint of our boy, Mr. Rob Nichols from IMU TV. And this is his mint. And he took a very trying time for himself and did something with it and did something great. And so he will have his mint, and that will be tomorrow evening. So I'm super excited to be able to be there with Steak and Bake Bully, Mr. Sam, and myself, and Rob Nichols rolling up in the spot. And it's going to be our normal party that normally goes into the wee hours of the morning. Oh, yeah. We throw down, we have a good time, we party, and then we do a little murder mystery where we get to, boy, that is one of the most psychological games you could ever play. And I swear I love playing with them. Lady K, she hosts it, and she comes up with the ways that people get killed. um, and yeah, it's Mr. Zam. It definitely is a great mind f. Yeah, absolutely, because you think you know people. You do. You think you know people. You think you know how they would react to certain things or how they would do things, and it goes a whole different way. And you're like, but I'm just saying though, the heck. And Steak and Bake Bully says, "Yep, 2 a.m. and we just got started." That is so true. And it's yeah, shoot, I ain't even gonna lie. I've had times where I've started off and I'm going tough. Next thing you know, I fall asleep. I wake up, they still going. um, must be. You know what, Mr. Zam? Yeah, he must be because yes, it does say he's on X. Yeah, and you're on YouTube. Yep. So, but yeah, so when it comes down to it, yep, there you are. So it's this is a very interesting time, and I'm really excited to be in this space. I do. I'm very aware of what we're doing, what we're starting, what we are implementing in this ecosystem, and the ways that we're doing it is very important. You know, when it comes down to it, there has to be a standard of business across the board. It has to be. I mean, the legitimacy of this space is questioned every single time there's a rug pull. Every single time, someone says, "Oh, I got scammed out of this," or all of those things make a little black tick for the digital asset and cryptocurrency space. So as we start to get further and further into this, and then prior to it and going into some type of liquidity event, we really need to make sure that our business acumen is in place and understand how these things are going to go, because we're going to have people that are coming into this space that don't know anything about it, and we need to be understanding and also give good information, you know. So when it comes down to it, you know, we need to make sure that we have the right things in place. Whether that's an LLC for your business, whether that is a trust, or how you want to do it. Do a C Corp, S Corp. I mean, all of these different things you can do for yourself. Have these things in place. Have your wallets in place. Have your, situation done so that, you know, you have all the things that you need in place to take care of yourself and your family. These are the type of things that I, been talking about for a while now. And when it comes down to it, I'm ecstatic about what's happening. And for me, once that happens, then I'll be able to grow my own food forever. That's the goal. I love that. Being able to grow the things that I'm eating, because I get to control then the nutrients. So a lot of this is very intentional, me investing the way that I have and being very determined and emotionless when it comes to the actual investments that I've made. There's not anything that can really rock me when it comes to these investments, because I know what I'm getting myself into, what I've gotten myself into. And so I see a lot of it as a means to an end. At the same time, I've also laid the groundwork prior to. So I know how to grow things. I know how to make good soil. I know how to, make fertilizers that come from natural things that I have the ability to be able to acquire, whether it's through having my own animals, having my own chickens that I can get eggs from and have calcium from the shells, all of these different things. But I think it's all about choice, making a conscious choice. I am. I can't hold anybody else accountable. I got to be accountable for myself. And I can't make excuses. So there you go. And I want to thank the 99 people that came in to hang out with me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here with you all tonight. This is Keda's Brew TV. I will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I look forward to hanging out with you all again. It went to 100. My first stream that had 100 people in it. And you all were here with me for that. So thank you. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.
Come get to know your girl. There's a lot going on in her world. There's enough for you to get a view
of everything that's Keda's Brew.
from health, beauty, food, and crypto. These are the things you'll get to know. So come find the brew
That's right for you. Then you'll know what to do. Come get to know your girl. There's a lot going